I love what you share here about how Daniel Schmachtenberger recognizes the generator functions of the rivalrous dynamics and then these complicated systems that are consuming their complex substrate, open loops as opposed to closed loops. What I want to offer here real quick is I do think that the core of this that needs to be a starting point is that a big reason why people are operating with this kind of open loop, inexorable, cancerous type of calculus protocol is because they see themselves as an individual separate from everyone else. Those of us that don't see it that way, that recognize an Ubuntu emergent quality, what would I be with everyone else? I am because we are, which makes sense the more you investigate it, that you are inevitably being affected by everybody else. That regardless of the spiritual consciousness side of it, in principle, that is true. But those that are not doing that, again, they don't have a relationship to the whole that recognizes that. They're operating as though, well, yeah, if I maximize well-being at the expense of everyone else's, that's fine. Their well-being is not important to me. Why would it be? And so it's trying to figure out a tailored, reverse-engineered path for them to recognize that. Okay? Because, again, it's pretty deterministic how we find out what we find out. I didn't even hear about Ubuntu until I heard Daniel Schmachtenberger mention it on her recommended YouTube video. Same for yourself. You can pinpoint where you heard these things. And we can't assume that those that aren't operating that way have heard about it and choose not to. Some of them maybe have, sure. And of all of the ones that you might reach out to and tailor some stewardship approach to try to tailor to them in their language, try to get them to recognize that, to try to shift their relationship to the whole, that they might start to recognize that they are a piece of all of this. They're a shareholder in reality. There is vested interest. There's a reason to care about everyone else's well-being as well as your own, as an extension of your own body to some extent. If you can tailor that to them, maybe only a few percentage of them will even listen to that. That might be enough, though, to shift the scale, actually, because that ripples outwards and affects other people. And I say you use everything at your disposal, from David McBraney to Jamie Joyce's Society Library, even at the tail end of that Stoa video, Emerging Projects of Public Sense Making, where Daniel Schmachtenberger interviewed Jamie Joyce of Society Library as well as John Ash. The third guy plotted out a person's social network of who they're listening to, who they're deferring judgment to. Think about that. Everybody's listening to somebody. Who's Mark Zuckerberg listening to? And who are they listening to? And who are they listening to? You could start to carve out like a 4D chess approach of dominoes of, well, here's an entry point for this person. They have a soft spot for game theory. This person really loves TED Talks. Let's see if we can share the right TED Talk with them that starts to get them to recognize a felt connectivity with the whole is an operative protocol that's more in line with how reality is, and at least in principle that it's true. And then if you operate as though it's not, and you're just some, passive observer tourist here, of course you're going to start running inexorable open loop calculus, because why else wouldn't you? It's only when people realize their felt connectivity with everything else that it doesn't make any sense to do that. And so, for what that's worth.